Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today, questions versus answers. Our society is divided into many different groups of people: ideology, sociology, economic, political, historical. Like, we're divided every way, shape, or form. And one of the things that I think divides a lot of us is the importance of questions versus answers. I think naturally a lot of us want answers. We want the answer to why are we here, the answer to making money, the answer to losing weight. We're really, really obsessed with the answers of these big questions. But I don't think enough emphasis is put on asking the right questions, because it's hard to know a question if you don't know it, right? Like, it's kind of obvious, but in the same way, asking the correct question can really expand your thought. It can change the way you live. It can influence what answers you're going to find. Several universities around the world have started full degrees in asking questions. Philosophy has always been about questions and trying to fine tune the question writing process, trying to figure out, how do you ask better questions? How do you figure out what you need to answer? And that comes with a whole another discussion. Like, there was a conversation around the world recently about how many are there, more doors or are there more windows or wheels or something like that. I don't really know. But it was this big philosophical debate of people asking, what are more common in the world, wheels or doors, and what counts as a door, what counts as a wheel. And it was this huge debate, and people were on either side. It's kind of like that dress from years ago that people said was blue and black or cream and gold. And then later it turned out to just be like an edited photo. But we're obsessed with the answers to these things, but we don't ask enough questions. We don't really concern ourselves with, how do we create better questions? And I know that question innately asks a question that then we're looking for an answer to, but finding the answer to that question would really help our ability to figure stuff out. I know that, like, several uses of AI, artificial intelligence, have given us new questions to ask, which has been really game changing in some ways. I think there have been several mathematical equations and debates about the universe and things like that. And AI obviously comes from a different perspective than human intelligence in some ways. And so we're actually learning these questions we never even thought to ask, and these problems that we're trying to figure out. Because essentially a question is just a problem put into words. Like, if we have a problem with nuclear fission or fusion, I forget which one we don't have yet. We have to know something about that first in order to be able to create a question on how to do something, how to do it. And this causes, like, quite a dense philosophical thought process that can be quite taxing and honestly hurts my brain sometimes. But essentially, finding the right questions actually helps guide you to specific solutions to the problems that you're trying to figure out. And so by being a little more thoughtful about the questions you ask, wow, does that ever make a difference? That being said, there's still a lot of room for the answers. Obviously, the answer is kind of the final thing that you need to solve a problem. And by going through this rhetorical minefield that really hurts my small little brain, you get to a solution or an answer that hopefully creates more questions. Okay, now we have some version of artificial intelligence. What do we do with it? What does it mean for our species? How will it affect future generations? What does it mean to be human if an AI can be as intelligent or more intelligent than we are? These are all important questions. These are all very philosophical natured discussions about, we've come up with this solution, or we're developing this solution, And now it's bringing to the table questions we never thought to ask. We never thought we'd need to answer these kinds of questions in 2025 or 2026 or whatever. And so by being thoughtful about your questions and the impacts that that question might have is really important, because you can craft a question and work really hard to get the answer. And once you have the answer, you're faced with a myriad of new questions. Is this ethical? What impact will it have? What impact does it have on the larger world? What does it mean to be human? What does it mean to exist? And, so you need to be very careful with questions, because at the end of the day, the question is almost more important than the answer, because the answer is going to cause more questions. So maybe try and craft your question in a way that addresses some of those future questions that might really screw you up. And I don't have the answers. And we knew that because duh. And it also makes me think of this quote about the more I know, the less I know. The more you understand about a concept or a subject or life in general, the more questions it raises to the impacts and the nuances of the answer. I think when you talk to somebody who maybe doesn't have the most experience with a certain subject, they'll make it seem like they have it all figured out. It's all, those experts, they know it all. But if you talk to an expert, they will almost always say further research is needed. We're not sure. We don't know the impact that this will have. We don't know how this will affect middle-income families or endangered species, XYZ, the environment, politics, economy. And so you have these very fine-tuned, well-trained, well-educated experts who hopefully, if they're worth anything their degree is printed on, will have a lot more questions than answers. And I think that gets to the root of wisdom, is that wisdom is understanding you do not have all of the answers, and you never can, because they will always create new questions and new worries and concerns and issues, and how does this impact this? So by being really thoughtful about your questions, you gain an air of wisdom and understanding of how complex the universe is, and how you can try and figure out 99% of the universe, but as soon as you do, you're back to 1%, because now you have new unknowns, new things that you don't understand. Okay, well, if we understand how dark matter works, maybe there's things behind dark matter. Actually, not maybe. There are things behind dark matter that we're not even in the ball game yet. We're not even in the same stratosphere as some of these high level questions. And it doesn't have to be about science and the universe and technology. It can be about empathy and humanity and the complex ecosystem that is our society, for lack of a better word. And the more you understand about an issue, the more you also understand and sort of bow down to just how unknown and unknowable some of these things are, how it is so intricate and so complex that you have to come to it with some humility. If you come to it and say, oh, we know it all, run away from those people. Run away from anyone who says that they have got it figured out. They have the solutions, whether it's weight loss or technology or nuclear fission or politics. If anyone ever says to you, oh, like I know how to fix it all, just run away. We hate politicians because they say this, and we know innately that they don't know it all. So take that, embrace it in your life, and ask good questions. Let me know what you think. Ask some questions down below. Post some answers down below. I like to read them all. Thank you guys for watching. I hope this one didn't hurt your brain as much as it hurt my brain, but I'm just a boy. Like, what do you expect? But again, seriously, thank you for watching, and as always, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.